time for box office predictions, and we're kicking off this video so strong, and I couldn't be more excited about it because we haven't had one of these types of weeks at Fantasy Movie League in quite a while. We had 38 players in the Predictions with Perri League get a perfect lineup last weekend. Here they all are. Check out all of these top performers this week, and these are the people you want to watch out for in the summer 2019 season. I am well behind pretty much all of them. Moving into recapping what happened at the box office last weekend, I did go 3 for 5, which isn't all that impressive, but I was pretty happy with where I came in number-wise for those top positions. I actually wound up right on the money for Men in Black International, which opened up with $30 million. The Secret Life of Pets 2 did take the 2 position with $24.4 million, but then Shaft didn't come in at number 3 or 4 or 5. It actually opened up at number 6, only making $8.9 million in its first weekend in theaters. So that means number 3 was up for grabs, and an easy get for Aladdin, which added another $17.3 million to its haul. Then at number 4, it was actually Rocketman with $9.42 million, because Dark Phoenix fell even harder than I had predicted, dropping a whopping 71.5% and making a mere $9.3 million this weekend. Rolling into this weekend's predictions now, I am going to tell you right off the top that I have a feeling that positions 5, 4, and 3 this weekend are going to be fairly close, so they might move around, but here is the lineup I'm going with. I know that Toy Story 4 is hitting theaters this weekend, but after that super minimal 30% drop last weekend, I have a feeling Aladdin might hold pretty strong, certainly enough to take at least the number 5 spot this time around. And I know this might sound like a weird comp I'm about to bring up, but I'm actually looking at the movie A Quiet Place for this one right now. So A Quiet Place, weekend 4 of its run, it made $21 million. Then the next weekend, in weekend 5, that's when Avengers Infinity War came out. It dropped 47.4%. Now Aladdin, last weekend in weekend 4 of its run, it of course made about $17.3 million. And now going into weekend 5, facing a box office juggernaut in Toy Story 4, if it winds up seeing a very similar percent change trend as what A Quiet Place saw moving from weekend 3 to 4 in its run and then facing Infinity War, we could be talking about something like a 40% dip. And if that's what happens, Aladdin is making another $10 million this weekend. All right, now let's move over to number 4. And remember what happened last weekend with Dark Phoenix and all of the challenges that it faced? Well, I think the same exact thing is going to happen with Men in Black International, or at least something similar, which is why I have it dropping to number 4 this weekend. I'm going to stick with The Mummy as my comp. I think it's going to stay right in line. And weekend 2 of its run, The Mummy dropped 55%. The thing is, though, again, I'm going to keep bringing up Toy Story 4 because it's what's going to eat up most of the money at the box office this weekend. That is what Men in Black International is facing, whereas The Mummy was only up against Cars 3, and Cars 3 made a fraction of what I think Toy Story 4 is going to make this time around. So I do think that that 55% dip has to come up, and right now, looking at current ticket sales, I'm only raising it to 60%, and if that's what MIB International loses this weekend, it's still making another $12 million. And now we're at the number 3 spot, and this time around, that's where I've got The Secret Life of Pets 2. And yes, this one could be in trouble because Toy Story 4, direct competition right there, but the movie that's actually giving me some hope for this one right now is Kung Fu Panda 2. So opening number and also the weekend 2 drop, they were pretty similar. And then moving over to weekend 3 of Kung Fu Panda 2's run, it actually saw its percent change come down. That is not happening with Secret Life of Pets 2 with so much competition out there, but the fact that that movie's percent change dropped is giving me hope that at least The Secret Life of Pets 2 can keep maybe somewhat even with what it lost last weekend. And if that's what happens, and if it maintains something like a 48 or 50% decline, it's still going to make another $13 million this weekend. And now we're moving over to number 2 this weekend, and that's where I have our first new release. It is Child's Play. So with this one, what's working in its favor is the fact that it is good counter-programming to Toy Story 4, and also it's been a little while since we've seen another wide-release horror movie. The thing is, though, next weekend is Annabelle Comes Home, so it could be in for a pretty big weekend 2 decline. But Weekend one right now, I've got a feeling it's going to open up in line with the latest Saw movie, Jigsaw. They're both part of iconic franchises, so that would make sense. However, Jigsaw came out in October, and on top of that, Jigsaw didn't really have much competition that weekend at all. And of course, Toy Story 4 is coming, and even though they are not vying for the exact same audience, Toy Story 4 is going to take up so much of that box office pie, it will no doubt affect Child's Play this weekend. So I am thinking right in line, or maybe just a little under Jigsaw, is where this one is going to land, which would be on the low end of expectations for the movie. I'm locking it in right now. Child's Play opening up with $15 million this weekend. All right, guys, now it's time for the big one, the top spot, the movie that could break some major records this weekend. I've got Toy Story 4 at number 1. Looking at Toy Story 3 briefly, which opened up in 2010, that movie made $110 million. Guess what? Toy Story 4 is going to absolutely obliterate that number, become the highest opening for that series. The big question here is Incredibles 2. Will Toy Story 4 manage to top that movie's $182.7 million opening and post the largest opening at the domestic box office for an animated movie ever? Admittedly, I want the answer to be a yes, but sadly, I think it's going to be a no on this. A little while back, it was reported that a $200 million opening was a possibility and that it was tracking something like 10% ahead of Incredibles 2, but ticket sales right now just aren't making me think that's going to happen. And instead, I'm going to come in with $150 million for Toy Story 4's opening weekend. All right, guys, it is recap time now. Of course, we've got Toy Story 4 topping the charts with $150 million. Then it's Child's Play coming in at number 2 with $15 million, followed by The Secret Life of Pets at number 3 with $13 million. Then it's Men in Black International with $12 million at number 4. And finally, Aladdin, rounding out my top 5 with $10 million of its own. So that's it for me, but of course, I am passing box office prediction duties over to you now. Hit the comment section of this video, put your top 5 and your number predictions right there. Toy Story 4, it's a big one. What do you think? Am I going in too low on that one? Or do you guys think it really does have a chance to top 200 million this weekend? Chime in. I'm curious to get your thoughts. And of course, head on over to Fantasy Movie League, the Predictions with Perri League. Lock those lineups now. See how many perfect lineups we can get next weekend. And before I say goodbye, we've got some Patreon shout-outs for a very special group of individuals, because these right here are some of my top tier members. They are Steven, Evan, Luke, and Billy. You've all been with the campaign for a real long time now, and I hope you know how much I appreciate your support and how much I value your impact on the Patreon community. So thank you guys for being here, and thanks to everybody out there for watching these videos. I love doing them, and don't forget, tune back in next weekend to see how we all did on our box office predictions.